Hello, my name is Stephanie Harwood, and this is my virtual library. So, my what I learned from this project is that there are a lot of different books in different categories that have different meanings, and it is important for children to read these different books because they may have a different interest, and going for these interests of these children is important so then they can get interested in reading, and they find these books that maybe they didn't like before, but if they had it in a different format, then it is fun. It's not just a traditional book, it's also like picture books and chapter books and graphic novels. So these things are maybe catch their interest. So my favorite book out of my virtual library has to be this book called Mirror Mirror. This book was a book about poetry that centered on the fairy tales. But the interesting part about this book was that it wrote the poems for in there, and then on the other side of the page it reverses the poem, so it writes the poem from the bottom up. And I thought that was really interesting because as a kid I didn't like poetry, and I feel like if I read this book as a kid I may have gotten a little bit more interested in poetry, so I thought that was really cool. My least favorite book has to be this book called Aliens for Lunch, because I don't know, it wasn't really one I enjoyed reading thoroughly. And it was just a fun little book, so I guess that was like my least favorite. But I liked all the books that I picked out. The What book I would use for my future students is this book called Love Makes a Family. This book was about diverse families and how there's a lot of different families, and all these families need to be celebrated, and all these families are beautiful, and it's okay that if your family's a male male or female or female male, or single mom or single dad, that these families are still families because they love each other and they're there for each other and they're supportive of each other. So that's definitely a book I would want to teach in the future to students. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed.